This week's portion, the double portion, Vayakhel-Pekudei, continues with a description of the design of the Mishkan, but here in these portions, the Israelites follow through on the design that was presented in the previous three portions, and with every single detail, the Israelites follow through and construct and design all the textiles and make all the vessels. And so, but the portion begins with a brief description of the commandment to observe Shabbat. And so the obvious question is, what does Shabbat observance have to do with the construction of the Mishkan? An easy answer is that perhaps to remind the people not to work on Shabbat when they are constructing the tabernacle. But the rabbis take it even one step further. It's because of this This week's portion, Vayakhel-Pekudei, which concludes the book of Exodus, records for us the exact details of how the Israelites followed through on the commandment of how to design the tabernacle by actually building and constructing and making everything that they were commanded to do. Yet the portion begins with a few lines reminding the people to observe Shabbat. And so the question is, what does Shabbat have to do with everything related to the construction of the tabernacle? And the easy answer is perhaps to remind the people not to work on Shabbat when they are in the midst of construction, that even God's sacred space requires a day off to observe Shabbat as God's day of rest and therefore the people's day of rest. But the rabbis take this even one step further. It is from this juxtaposition of the commandment of Shabbat with the construction of the Mishkan that the rabbis understand and derive the 39 categories of work that they say are forbidden on Shabbat. Any kind of work associated with the Mishkan is the kind of work that we are not supposed to do on Shabbat, and the rabbis, understand that there are 39 such categories of work. But why do the rabbis do this? Why do the rabbis need to elaborate on the command to rest on Shabbat by giving us even more laws? In fact, the biggest section in the Talmud discussing law related to anything Jewish is this section on Shabbat. What is the rabbi's ultimate religious purpose? And we understand from the rabbis that the Torah isn't just about providing us a religious foundation. How do we understand God in the world and how we are supposed to be good people? Because we understand sexual conduct and business relations from the Torah, but even more so for the rabbis, it is ensuring that the ritual that in the Torah is confined to one sacred space and certain times of the year. The rabbis wanted to ensure that the worship and ritual as well becomes an everyday experience for us. Jewish life for the rabbis isn't just about the general principles of ethical and moral ideals. It's all about bringing that to life and finding moments every single day to do that. So for the rabbis, Shabbat isn't just about this broad idea of taking a day of rest, because everybody can understand rest in a different way. It's more of a sense of legislating for us and providing standards for us so that we can experience what that rest would be like. And so for the rabbis, this juxtaposition of Shabbat and the Mishkan highlights the rabbinic methodology of ensuring that we find spiritual moments as many times during the day, every day of the year as possible. Shabbat Shalom.